Welcome to Fighting Stats, the ultimate channel for MMA fans who love statistics and betting breakdowns. I'm your host, Art C, and I'm here to get you ready for the upcoming UFC fights. In this series, I'll be watching tape and providing my real-time analysis on how I think the fights are going to go. I'll be watching for fighters' strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and overall strategies, pairing that with Fighting Stats' exclusive UFC stats not available anywhere else, to give you a prediction on how I think the fights are going to go and ultimately who's going to win. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Fighting Stats. Welcome back to Fighting Stats. I'm your host, Art C, and today we have a special treat for you. We are breaking down the UFC 300 BMF title between Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. Again, this is for the BMF title, the best mother-father title here. Justin Gaethje winning that. So now this is going to be a 5-round fight at UFC 300. Very important that we know it's a 5-round fight because the BMF belt is on the line. So we're going to be breaking down this fight here. We watched all the Max Holloway fight tape. We watched the Justin Gaethje fight tape. We got a pretty good idea of what each fighter wants to do, their tendencies, things like that. So what we're going to do is going to start with the numbers. We're going to go deep into the stats, see what the numbers tell us, what kind of story the numbers tell us. Then I'll go into my prediction in terms of how I see the fight going, what I saw in the fight tape, and how I see this fight playing out. And then we'll go into the numbers in terms of where I think the fight, or who's going to win by what method. I'll get you the numbers, where the best bets lie, and figure out some prop bets there. So let's get right into this. Let's get it started here. So I put Justin Gaethje here on the blue side, Max Holloway on the red side here. Justin Gaethje 8-4 in the UFC, 75% of his wins coming from KO, 13% by decision. 4 UFC losses, half of them coming from KO, half of them coming from submission. Worth noting, he has never lost a decision, only 13% of the decisions, his wins coming from decision. Whereas the Max Holloway side, 20-7 in the UFC, 40% of those wins coming from KO, 10% by submission, and 45% by decision. Max Holloway never been knocked out, 0% losses by KO, 14% losses by submission, and 86% of his losses by decision. The main thing that you really want to know here in terms of the matchups, they're both the same height. Gaethje is going to have a 1-inch reach advantage, but Gaethje normally fights at 155 pounds at the lightweight division. Max Holloway, the former 145 champion, is moving up in weight for this fight here at 155. Let's get into the offensive striking here. Justin Gaethje is going to be an offensive striker. 87% of his strikes landed are going to be at a distance, 12% in the clinch, and only 2% of his strikes are going to be ground strikes. His striking distribution, 74% of his strikes are towards the head, 7% to the body, and 19% towards the legs. If you know anything about Justin Gaethje, a very big leg kicker. All right, so in terms of his striking accuracy, 51% head strike accuracy, pretty good. 82% body strike accuracy, and a leg accuracy at 88%. Again, big leg kicker at 88%. Strikes thrown by round, pretty high output here. 52 strikes thrown in round number 1, 55 in round number 2, 55 in round number 3, and then rounds 4 and 5 drop down to 22 in round 4 and 39 in round 5. Whereas his strikes landed around 30 in round 1, 33 in round 2, 35 in round 3, drops down to 14 in round 4, and then up to 34 in round number 4, so round number 5. UFC knockdowns, total of 6 knockdowns, 4 of them coming in round number 1, 2 of them coming in round number 2. So definitely an early striker who wants to get in early there. Strikes thrown by round there, so obviously a head strike targets are 16, 23, and 24 there. Looking at the leg kick numbers here, his leg kicks do drop off as the rounds go on there, averaging 11 leg kicks in round number 1, 7 leg kicks in round number 2, 8 in round number 3, and then 4 and 4 in rounds 4 and 5 there. So again, Justin Gaethje is going to be mostly an orthodox striker. He's going to throw a lot of power strikes, and he's going to throw a lot of leg kicks. So Looking at these leg kick numbers over his career, he's thrown 269 leg kicks. 238 of them have landed. Overall significant strike accuracy of 61%, 6 knockdowns there. So I also wanted to show you the clinch strikes. What I noticed is that Justin Gaethje has a very good clinch game. Not throwing a ton of clinch strikes, so 124 clinch strikes thrown in his UFC career, 101 landed there. Lots of right uppercuts, right hooks there. And then those knockdowns, again, we talked about coming in the early rounds, knocking down Dustin Poirier in the second round with a head kick. Michael Chandler there in the second round as well. Donald Cerrone in round 1. Edson Barboza in round 1. James Vick in round 1. He had a string of round 1 KOs there. All right, so let's go into the defensive striking here. Justin Gaethje, 90% of his strikes absorbed are going to be at a distance, 9% in the clinch, and only 1% on the ground. Target against, 79% of the strikes against are towards the head, 16% towards the body, and 5% towards the leg. Head strike accuracy, defensive head strike accuracy, not bad at 37%, 81 towards the body, and 86 towards the leg there. In terms of strikes absorbed, does take a little bit of damage here. 31 strikes in round number 1, absorbed 34 in rounds 2 and 3, and 27 in rounds 4 and 14 in rounds 5 there. The volume of rounds 4 and 5 dropping off. Not a ton of rounds 4 and 5 experience for Justin Gaethje, just worth noting there. So he has been knocked down twice in his UFC career, one coming in round number 1 and one coming in round number 3. And then again, the average strikes absorbed by round. Head strikes seems to go up there. Averages 3 leg kicks a round absorbed as well. Again, only been knocked down twice in his UFC career. One against Charles Oliveira in round number 1, and then the last one was Eddie Alvarez in round number 3. Knocked down Justin Gaethje there. Justin Gaethje normally pretty durable, pretty good chin there. Overall striking defense 45% there. Has eaten some leg kicks, but generally takes leg kicks well, and not a big clincher there as well. So let's move over to the Max Holloway side. He's going to be another striker here. 87% of his strikes landed are going to be at a distance, 8% in the clinch, and only 5% on the ground. In terms of his target breakdown, he does mix it up, but he goes to the head 80% of the time, 15% towards the body, and 6% to the legs. Not a huge leg kicker, but he will mix that in there. Striking accuracy, 40%, pretty good striking accuracy there. Body accuracy at 75%, leg kick accuracy at 77%. Now, his average strikes thrown by round, you can really see it really trends up here. He's throwing, on average, 60 strikes thrown in round number 1, and then it pops up to 75 in round number 2, 76 in round number 3, and round 4 goes up to 97 strikes thrown in that round, 79 in round number 5. Strikes landed also tends to go up there, 25, 33, 39, 57, and then drops off to 38 in round 5 in terms of strikes landed. UFC career knockdowns, it looks like he has a total of 8 knockdowns, 3 coming in round 1, 3 in round 2, and 2 in round 3. And then again, his head strikes trend up as the fights goes on there. Leg strikes seems to trend up there as well. Overall, again, we talked about the knockdowns, 8 knockdowns in his UFC career. None of them have come recently, though, so we haven't seen any of those knockdowns. A lot of those knockdowns early in his career here. Let's go back. The most recent one was Jose Aldo in round number 3. Before that was Anthony Pettis. And then again, early in his career when he first came in, Will Chop, you haven't heard that name. Akira Corassani, man, going back in time. So, yeah, the last time Max Holloway had a knockdown was Jose Aldo in 2017. But he's fought some really durable guys. So not super surprising there. We'll go through the actual records in a bit. Again, Max Holloway, not a huge leg kicker, but he will mix it in there. On average there, it looks like he's thrown 368 leg kicks, landing 282. We just saw a stat in that last fight. Max Holloway, the third one to land 3,000 strikes in his UFC career, so definitely a volume striker there. In terms of defensive striking, Holloway defensive striking, 93% of the strikes absorbed are going to be at a distance, 6% in the clinch, and only 2% on the ground. In terms of target against, 78% head targets, 10% to the body, and 12% to the legs. Seems like a lot of people like to go to the legs on Max Holloway. Striking defense, good striking defense at 33% towards the head, 54% towards the body, and 80% towards the legs. In terms of average strikes absorbed by round, pretty standard here, pretty 22 in round 1, 21 in round 2, 22 in round 3, goes up a little bit in round 4 to 30, and then 32 in round 5. So definitely more output in terms of output landed than strikes absorbed. And then look at these numbers. Has never been knocked down in the UFC here. We talked about him having like 29 something fights, fighting the who's who really of strikers here, right? So Arnold Allen, Alexander Volkanovski 3 times, Yair Rodriguez, Calvin Kattar, Frankie Edgar, Dustin Poirier, Brian Ortega, Jose Aldo, Anthony Pettis, Jeremy Stevens, Charles Oliveira. Never been knocked down. So just, I saw a stat, I think he probably has one of the best chins in the UFC, so we'll bring that into the breakdown there as well. So let's move over to, let's look at the leg kick numbers here. This one is very important because he is coming up against Justin Gaethje, and we did watch all of that fight tape here, so we wanted to see how he dealt with the leg kick. So moving backwards in time here, we're going to look at the Arnold Allen, not landing a ton of leg kicks, but he did land about 15 leg kicks or so for Arnold Allen. He was able to finish that fight, no problems there. Volkanovski, in the third time that they met, Volkanovski landing again about 28 leg kicks there. So again, Holloway able to deal with those leg kicks. This last one here against Yair Rodriguez, look at these numbers here. Yair Rodriguez landing 18 of 23 leg kicks in round number 1, going 22 of 23 in round number 2. They were hard low kicks there, right? Enough so that Max Holloway starts grappling in rounds 3 and 4. Only 5 leg kicks for Yair Rodriguez in round 3, 4 in round 4, and then 8 landed in round 5. In terms of all the fight tape, that was the biggest damaging low kicks that we saw from Yair Rodriguez. Max Holloway able to win that fight, able to go 5 rounds standing. There was some mixing grappling there, and we'll touch that in the breakdown, but just wanted to show you that Yair Rodriguez, big leg kicker. Calvin Kattar, again, he landed a couple of leg strikes as well, about 18 leg strikes. And then I wanted to talk about the Volkanovski one. The very first time they fought Volkanovski in 2019, Volkanovski landing almost 75 leg kicks to Holloway. Some of them were inside kicks, some of them were outside kicks, all that stuff. But again, Holloway able to absorb them, eat them, sort of thing. There was a switch from orthodox to southpaw about halfway through that fight, the first time that they met. And then the second time, he got an immediate rematch afterwards, that Alexander Volkanovski not landing 75, but a decent number here, close to 60-something leg kicks thrown by Alexander Volkanovski in that second time they fought. Again, Holloway doing a better job of avoiding the kicks, making adjustments, and that fight was very close. So I just wanted to show the numbers in terms of, you know, a lot of people are going to say Justin Gaethje is going to chew up the legs of Max Holloway, but he's fought some big leg kickers. Obviously not compared to Justin Gaethje, but Alexander Volkanovski 3 times, Yair Rodriguez landing some big kicks, and we watched how he dealt with those kicks, how he dealt with adversity through the kicks. So we got a pretty good idea in terms of what the game plan is against the kicks here. So before we get into breakdown, let's get into the detailed grappling report. I don't expect either guy to really grapple much, so we'll really skim over this part here. On average there, yeah, you can see on average Justin Gaethje averaging 0.1 takedowns in round 1. I think 0.2 takedowns, 0.13 takedown attempts in round number 2, averaging 0 against. So in his UFC career, Justin Gaethje has only attempted 4 takedowns, only successful on 1 of them against Fiziev, and there he got 5 seconds of control time in that 1 takedown. So really don't see Justin Gaethje going for the takedown or following him down to the ground there. Defensive grappling for Justin Gaethje, pretty good. Only allowed 5 takedowns on 20 attempts. So good 75% takedown defense. And similar numbers here on the Max Holloway side in terms of offensive grappling. We'll just talk about the takedown attempts. Attempted 15 takedown attempts in his UFC career. 8 of them have been successful. The last time he got a takedown was Yair Rodriguez in round 1, 14 seconds of control time. And then again, rounds 3 and 4, he got a takedown each in rounds 3 and 4. Holloway actually showing a nice blast double, some good back control, top time, and things like that. 184 seconds of control time in round number 3 to Yair Rodriguez. 126 seconds of control time in round number 4 against Yair Rodriguez. And I'll tell you one thing, Max Holloway only started grappling there until that lead leg started to get hurt and busted up there. So he did look for a takedown against Yair Rodriguez and ended up controlling him in mount and back mount actually in that fight. So Worth noting that, again, that was more a result, I think, of the leg kicks, but I'll get into that in just a bit. Red defensive grappling here. A lot of people have tried to take down Max Holloway. He's seen 150 takedown attempts. Only 24 of them have been successful. Again, we talked about Justin Gaethje really not going for the takedowns, and Holloway just being able to defend the takedown. So I see the fight taking place on the feet. It makes the most sense for it to be a striker versus striker matchup. Very excited for this fight. So those are the numbers. In terms of how I think, this is how I see the fight going, okay? And we saw it on the fight tape, and we know what each other wants to do. So both fighters are going to open up orthodox. The only time I saw Max Holloway open up southpaw was against Arnold Allen and other southpaw. So the fact that Justin Gaethje opens up orthodox tells me that Holloway's going to counter in orthodox as well. One thing we know about Justin Gaethje, again, he's going to throw a lot of outside low kicks, especially orthodox versus orthodox. He will jump into the leg kicks. He'll keep a range. He'll jump in there, throw that hard outside low kick, and Holloway's going to have to start dealing with that. The other thing Justin Gaethje likes to do is he likes to throw bombs in the pocket. He'll use a high guard, get in close. He'll pressure you. As you circle off to the right, he's going to throw a right hook on the circle. If you circle off to the left, he'll throw a left hook on the circle, sort of thing, trying to catch you with the hooks on the circle. The other thing, when he's in the pocket here, he does bend down to the left. He'll dip down to the left, to the right, throw a right hook or a right uppercut. He'll dip down to the left, throw a left hook, the left uppercut, sort of thing. He plants his feet and throws a lot of power into the strikes, and he does have a lot of knockdowns because he does throw a ton of power into those strikes, right? And again, he knocked out James Vick. He knocked out Donald Cerrone in the first round. Tony Ferguson's a beast. He just ate all that power. Barbosa in the first round, Donald Cerrone, again, ton of power there. So that's what Justin Gaethje is going to do. He's going to do that for 3 rounds. He's going to be pretty much the same. Outside low kick, big overhand right. He does have a nice clinch where he throws right uppercuts, right hooks in the clinch. Very nice stuff. But again, he's going to be more of a plotter, throwing a lot of power punches. Now, on the Max Holloway side, we've seen guys attack this low kick on him, okay? So the first time he fought Alexander Volkanovski goes to leg kicks early and often, right? And actually, it's enough that Volkanovski lands these hard outside low kicks, and then halfway through the fight, Max Holloway has to switch to southpaw. But Max Holloway can fight from southpaw. He switched to southpaw, fought the rest of the fight in southpaw. It was close, but Alexander ended up winning that fight. And then the second time they meet, Alexander gets an immediate rematch. They fight again. The second time, Max Holloway more aware of the leg kicks. He's standing outside in range. He's lifting the lead leg, moving out of range on them. So Max Holloway Volkanovski is not able to land the outside low kick as much. Volkanovski has to start going to the inside low kick, right? Because he goes inside low kick, Max Holloway able to stay orthodox for the remainder of that fight. That fight going to a split decision, 48-47 both ways. Very close fight. I thought Max Holloway actually won that fight. And again, he made the adjustments because of the leg kicks. He came back and he ended up, again, very close to winning that fight. But he loses twice to Alexander Volkanovski. Again, he fights Yair Rodriguez. He fights Volkanovski again. The Yair Rodriguez fight lands a bunch of low kicks. Yair Rodriguez lands a bunch of low kicks early. And then Max Holloway starts to grapple out of nowhere. We hadn't seen Max Holloway really try to grapple, but Max Holloway's shooting blast doubles. He's getting the blast double, gets the fight down to the ground. And then on the ground, very surprising, but Max has good top control. He got Yair Rodriguez into mount. Yair Rodriguez turns to give up his back, and Max Holloway rolls and keeps back mount, back to front mount, back to back mount. Max Holloway kept top position. Max Holloway, I think, had 2 or 3 submission attempts in that fight. And I think that was all stemming from the damage to the lead leg. Max Holloway said, you know what, enough with this couple of things. When you have a damaged lead leg, there's a couple of things that you can do. One is crowd the kicker, right? Make sure that you stand in the pocket, throw bombs and stuff, right? It's not something that you want to do against Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje plants his feet. He throws power shots in a all-out brawl in the pocket. I'm going to favor Justin Gaethje just because he throws a ton of power and he can eat some bombs there. Max Holloway doesn't have a ton of power. So I think Max Holloway, honestly, if the leg kicks get too much for him, we have seen him resort to takedowns, and I think he can sort of catch Justin Gaethje off guard if he attempts a takedown, and I think it's probably going to be in the later rounds if it happens. I know it's weird to say, but Max Holloway might have the grappling upside in this fight because, again, Justin Gaethje not wanting to engage in the ground, he might be throwing these kicks, and it might be a way to dissuade Justin Gaethje from throwing these leg kicks, is just attacking a takedown, getting some top time, getting things like that. So one thing for Justin Gaethje is he's going to have to attack these legs, and he will do that early and often. It's just how will Holloway deal with it? Again, Holloway can switch to southpaw, and Holloway can move backwards while fighting. That is a big difference with Justin Gaethje. He's more of a come forward, pressure you fight type fighter. If he has to fight off of his back foot, I favor Holloway. Holloway does a better forward fighting pressure sort of thing. So again, I think for Justin Gaethje, he's going to have to come forward with the leg kicks, make it a damage, really compromise that lead leg, and then it's going to force Holloway into southpaw. Holloway in southpaw is not bad, though. He can still strike, and he can still strike moving backwards. I did want to bring up Holloway in the Arnold Allen fight. Arnold Allen, a big striker there. Holloway in southpaw for most of that fight as well, because Arnold Allen is southpaw. Man, Arnold Allen was having trouble finding Max Holloway. Max Holloway does a really good job of controlling the distance, managing the distance, kind of playing Matador, in and out sort of thing, avoiding the big power shots, circling off. He can do that for 5 rounds, and he did it to Arnold Allen, winning a decision there. He fought the Calvin Kattar one, was just a striking masterpiece, 50-42 sort of thing. There's 3 10-8 rounds. He just picked apart Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar's a really legit striker and very technical striker, very long, and again, he was able to just out volume Kattar. He broke like the significant strike record for that fight. Holloway just putting on some good volume there. And then same thing with Yair Rodriguez, very unorthodox striker, throwing a lot of spin stuff. Holloway able to avoid all of that, stay out of danger, and win a decision there. So I'm going to say Holloway has not, fighting Justin Gaethje is nothing new to Holloway. Yes, it's up a weight class, and I'd argue, yeah, Justin Gaethje throws leg kicks harder than maybe all of the guys that Holloway has faced, especially at featherweight. And in terms of power punching, Justin Gaethje probably has a ton of power that Holloway hasn't seen. So Justin Gaethje definitely has the advantage in terms of power. Chin is questionable, but these guys both have deep granite chins. It's going to be an amazing fight. But I think, again, Justin Gaethje's best path is through leg kicks, and I think he has to land a big knockout, knockdown sort of thing. The only problem is that Max Holloway has never been knocked down. Never. Not even, he's been rocked a little bit, but he's never been knocked down. So I think, again, it's going to come down to moments versus minutes in this fight. I think Holloway has enough volume. We saw him break significant strike volume records. Let's look at some of these numbers in terms of strikes thrown. Significant strikes thrown against Max Holloway, 62, 51, 52, all in the high 50s, 60s against Volkanovski. You go to the Yair Rodriguez and Calvin Kattar, he's averaging 150 strikes thrown in each round. So I think against somebody like Justin Gaethje, who's not the most technical, you have to agree his technical striking is not the greatest. He fought Fiziev and then looked pretty good in round 3. Round 3 finally finding his jab there, but he's going to throw a lot of looping punches. It's going to come from the hip and stuff, right? He's going to have to land the big strikes. I think Holloway's a lot straighter, a lot 1-2s, right? And if you think about it, Gaethje's fought a lot of good strikers in the lightweight division stacked, but it's maybe perhaps Max Holloway might have the speed advantage here. So I think that Max Holloway could be more technical on the feet. I think he's more straighter, so he can land his 1-2s a lot easier, right? And then for Gaethje, I think he's going to just plod forward and have to land these big shots, and that's why I say moments versus minutes. I think that Holloway can land the more minutes. He's going to land more volume and stuff. Again, we talked about the last time Holloway had a knockdown was in 2018 or so, and we know Justin Gaethje has a granite chin as well. So both of these guys have big chins. So it comes if we assume that nobody gets knocked down and it goes to decision, you have to favor Holloway. Just by the mere fact that Holloway has a ton of 5-round experience, almost every single fight going to decision. He starts to take over in rounds 4 and 5. So it being a 5-round fight actually favors Max Holloway. In the couple of rounds here, I just wanted to go through the record and touch on this here for Justin Gaethje. Let's go into the numbers here, just looking at here. So When has Justin Gaethje gone late? Okay, so Dustin Poirier, he beats Dustin Poirier head kick round 2. The Fiziev fight was a 3-round fight, winning a majority decision. That's fine. Got choked out in round 1 by Oliveira. Chandler was also a 3-round fight. He won that one. Khabib got choked out in round 2. Tony Ferguson's is a write-off because Tony Ferguson was a walking punching bag. He got to round 5, looked fine in round 5, right? 3 round 1 finishes in a row: Donald Cerrone, Barboza, and James Vick. Now, going back to the Poirier fight, Poirier, this one actually going into rounds 4, being a championship fight. Poirier actually finishing Gaethje in round number 4. And then before that, Eddie Alvarez finishing Gaethje at the tail end of round 3. So there's definitely an advantage for a 5-round fight for Max Holloway. Anytime the fight went longer than 4 rounds there, Gaethje's track record is not really great, right? And even in the fight that's going the 3 rounds, not really great. So I think for Holloway to win, he's going to have to play Matador for 5 rounds. I know we talked about the knockdowns. I really don't see Max Holloway landing a knockdown, especially early. If Max Holloway ends up finishing Gaethje, it's probably going to have to come late, and it's probably going to come from attrition. It's going to look like maybe a Calvin Kattar sort of fight where Gaethje's face is all messed up because he keeps trying to throw these overhands. He's not landing them. Max is taking his best shot and sort of keeps on going. Or, again, Justin Gaethje has to land early before it gets there, or Gaethje has to throw leg kicks. So we'll go through all the numbers there. My prediction is that Max Holloway could put together a solid game plan of adjusting the leg kicks, maybe working in some grappling, and I think he can win a decision here. I think the odds are a little bit too wide there. So let's get into the numbers. Let's find out how wide, and then we'll get you a best bet here. So I like to pull up my handy-dandy bankroll tracker here. What I like to do is I go through each outcome of the fight, assign a probability to it, then use Kelly Criterion Calculator to tell me how much money I should be putting on each bet, and really where the value bets lie. So let's start out with Justin Gaethje here on the blue side. Justin Gaethje to win by TKO. I do think it's live. If it does happen, it's through leg kicks, and I think Holloway's going to have to be a one-legged fighter. I think in the clinch he can land some big uppercuts, big hooks in the clinch there, and I think overall just the way that Justin Gaethje throws power from the hips, circling off, Max Holloway moving up in weight. So the fact that Max Holloway never been knocked down is a big issue, but again, he's never fought a power puncher as good as Justin Gaethje. So it's definitely live. I'm not going to say it's a huge percentage. We'll leave it at 20% there. 1 in 5 fights, I think Justin Gaethje can win a KO. We'll come back and adjust it if needed. Justin Gaethje to win by submission. I'm going to say it's 0 because I don't think he wants anything to do with the ground, and I think that Max Holloway can defend the takedowns. If it gets there, he might let them back up. I see the fight just taking place on the ground. I'm not saying that Justin Gaethje has no submission wins, but just the way that the fight will play out will most likely be standing, so I'm going to put 0 to win by submission. Justin Gaethje to win by decision. I think Justin Gaethje is going to have to bank the early rounds, so he'll probably have to win 1, 2, and maybe 3. I think in the later rounds, Max Holloway, if he's still around, he can take over. So winning by decisions, I think he could get there. Cardio is a little bit of a concern for Gaethje, especially in the later rounds, but I'll put 20% for now. I might have to adjust it as we go there. Now moving over to the Max Holloway side, Max Holloway to win by TKO. I think it's not likely. I think it's possible, but just not likely. I think Max Holloway moving up. Justin Gaethje's fought some big power punchers. He has a granite chin as it is. Max Holloway's never been a huge power puncher as it is. He's been more of a volume striker. So if the TKO happens, it can come from 2 ways, really. It can come from just attrition, maybe rounds 3, 4, and 5. Holloway just starts to pick him apart at range, and Gaethje just takes too much damage that he ends up slowing down. Maybe it could be even like a standing TKO, maybe with even out a knockdown. The referee just sort of had enough. It's not likely, but I think it's possible. And the other way might be ground and pound. Honestly, if the leg does enough damage, then he gets the fight down to the ground. Ground and pound, it's just not likely. So between the ground and pound and the attrition there, I'm going to put like 15% for Max Holloway there. Max Holloway to win by submission. Now, This is a sneaky one because I think it's live. If you watch the Yair Rodriguez fight, he attempted like 2 or 3 submissions. He had these submission close. I think he went for a Dars. I think he was on the back there as well. So he was very close to getting the submission. Even against Zombie in his last fight there, Max Holloway almost getting a Dars choke. He got the knockdown. Korean Zombie rolling on the ground, and then he put in a Dars choke, and he was trying, or sorry, an Anaconda choke. He was trying to grab the leg, Zombie rotating him, but the choke was in. So if it hits the ground, or if Max Holloway, again, it's the leg kicks that might drive the takedown, and then Max on the ground. I think Justin Gaethje honestly could probably defend the takedown, but there is a small chance that Holloway gets the fight down to the ground. Maybe good Justin Gaethje kicks him too much, and then Holloway actually catches the kick, brings him down. So I'll put 5%. I'm not going to say it's, waste a ton of time saying that it's super live. I think it's live, and Holloway has more chances of winning by submission. But I can't put 10%. I'll put 5%. Holloway winning a decision is probably his most likely outcome. He's going to have to stick and move for 5 rounds, pick him apart at range, switch from southpaw to orthodox to avoid some of the leg kicks, maybe work in the grappling there. But I think the volume favors Holloway. I think the 5 rounds favor Holloway. I think rounds 3 and 4 and 5 are probably Holloway rounds. So I think he can win a decision here at a high clip here. I'm going to put at least 35% here. Okay, so 35% on that side. I'm off by 5%. I'm going to put it, let's see where I'm going to put it. I have to add 5% to something. I don't think it's Justin Gaethje by decision. 25% seems a little bit disrespectful in terms of KO. Justin Gaethje KO, 25%, so 4 times they fought, maybe one of them. Okay, well, for the sake of argument, we'll put it at KO. Thought it was a little bit low, so I'll read out the numbers to you. You tell me if they make sense. Justin Gaethje to win by TKO, 25%, so plus 300 or better. Justin Gaethje to win by submission, 0%. Justin Gaethje to win by decision, 20% or plus 400 or better. That's an overall money line of 45% or plus 122. For Max Holloway to win by TKO, I have it 15% or plus 567 or better. Holloway to win by submission, 5% plus 1900 or better. And then Max Holloway to win by decision, 35% or plus 186 or better. For a total money line of 55% or minus 122. So I know the odds here. Let's look up the odds because I haven't seen them recently. I'm giving a total money line of 45%. Let's go over to fightodds.io. Let's take a look at these lines because the lines are a little bit interesting here. UFC300, Justin Gaethje here, minus 240 currently. Look at here, Justin Gaethje opened up as the minus 140 favorite, immediately got bet down to minus 225. It popped up to 190 for a bit. There was buyback here. Got down to 210, 225, and then it looks like there's some buyback around the 250 mark on Holloway. So current line again, what did I say? Minus 240 on the Gaethje side, plus 205 on the minus 240 here, and 205. Okay, so what does the number say? Again, we thought that Gaethje should be a small underdog at 45%. The fact that he's a big favorite at minus 240 telling us red flags, don't bet on that side. So we move over to the Holloway side. I think, again, we had him as a slight favorite at 55%, minus 122. The current odds are plus 205. So they're at 8th Kelly criterion. It's asking us or telling us to put 4.1 units on the Max Holloway side. I think it sounds right. Honestly, I think Max Holloway at best maybe should be 50-50. I do question, okay, Justin Gaethje minus 240 against Max Holloway. When has anybody looked minus 240 against Max Holloway? The only time I can think of, again, is Volkanovski, that third fight. The third time they fought, Volkanovski winning 50-44, 50-45, Volkanovski. But that's Volkanovski, and that's 3 times they fought. They fought, 45 minutes or like 3 full 5-minute rounds. And Volkanovski, one of the best featherweights in the division. So are we saying that Justin Gaethje is comparable to Volkanovski? That's really the only time he's lost, Max Holloway, is these 3 fights to Volkanovski. Otherwise, he's pretty much undefeated in terms of at the featherweight division. Yeah, he's moving up. I do question whether or not Holloway will have the speed advantage. Maybe he bulks up a little bit and has some power on his strikes now. But I kind of favor Max Holloway. I just think he's more technical. I get the leg kick angle, and that's why I went back to watch all of the Max Holloway fights and how he dealt with leg kicks. But Max Holloway is super durable, so it protects us from a Gaethje KO. Again, Holloway never been knocked out, so again, it could come. I'm not, again, we've saying 1 in 4 chance of it happening, so I do think a Gaethje KO is live. And I think the leg kicks, I know he's going to land leg kicks. It's just whether or not they can deal with them. I think Holloway can do enough to deal with them, and I think we'll know early what the game plan is. So I think for Holloway, again, a lot of it's decision equity. And if Holloway is as durable as I think he is, never been knocked down, good distance management, staying on the outside and just out volume, I think that Holloway has a very good chance of winning a decision here. So I think at 55% it makes sense. Even at 50-50 it makes sense. Even at 40, give me an example here. If I gave Justin Gaethje 10% to win by bringing the money line to 55%, you're still getting minus 6.6 on the money line, saying don't bet the Gaethje side. If I took away 10% here and I made a Holloway a 45% dog, it's still telling 5%. 5%. It's still, Kelly Criterion still recommending a 2.3 unit bet on Holloway money line. It's still saying that the money line should be plus 122. We're getting plus 205. I don't think that Justin Gaethje is going to cover the minus 240 cover tag. So for me, it's dog or pass in this situation. I'm going to be looking at goes to decision, honestly. What was this? Sorry, let me put this back. 55, go to decision. 55%, honestly, it's probably a little bit higher than that. I'd probably play goes to decision around like minus 150, minus 160. But again, if it goes to decision, it heavily favors Max Holloway, I think. Then I might get sneaky with a couple of plays. I have a couple of same game parlays in my head that I want to play out. But overall, I think the numbers are fairly accurate. I don't think you can get too much KO. I don't know how you would get to minus 245 on that side. I think you would have to play with the numbers. If you give, say for example, okay, just for argument's sake, let's see how he covers this. Justin Gaethje to win by KO would have to be close to 50%. Justin Gaethje, yeah, to win by decision at 20%. So you're saying Justin Gaethje's 70% favorite, minus 233 or better. 1 in every 2 fights that they fight, he's going to knock out Max Holloway? I don't see it. You can't argue with that number saying that they fought 10 times, Gaethje's going to knock him out 5. The numbers aren't there, so I'm going to take the Max Holloway side. It's going to be the value side for me. Just going to be determining how many units to put on it. Again, the math here is saying 4 units, and I'll be in Vegas for this fight. This fight's going to be amazing. Maybe even just hold on, watch it as a fan, but I got to get money on this. I think Max Holloway's live as the underdog. So we'll put some money there. As soon as I make the bet there, I'll put it onto our Patreon, patreon.com/FightingStats. I'll let you know when I place that. But that's the breakdown. If you have anything to add, let me know. If I'm missing anything, let me know. If you love the Justin Gaethje side, let me know why. I get the leg kick angle, so don't say leg kicks, but maybe something else I'm missing. We'll go from there. But again, hope you like that breakdown. Hope you liked. Let me know in the comments below. My name is Art C, and this is Fighting Stats. Thanks for watching. Guys, well, that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this type of content, make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe. You'll get notified anytime we put out new content. Listen to this. We just hit a massive parlay for $29,000 at UFC 297. That is one UFC after 296 where we hit a parlay for $82,000. That's back-to-back parlays. We've made $110,000. And how do we do it? We use our exclusive fighting stats. Not available anywhere else. Our exclusive fighting stats gives us information, gives us a big edge over the sportsbooks, and tell us what's going to happen within the fights. We post all that information, our breakdowns, our best bets over at patreon.com/FightingStats. Don't miss out. Make sure you subscribe today. Again, my name is Art C. This is Fighting Stats. Thanks for watching.